You have been here before. The allegation lands and your body reacts before your mind can. A partner bends a sentence in ways you did not intend. A co-worker doubts your competency in front of others. A friend makes fun of you and keeps an eye on your facial expressions, and you immediately perform what you've been conditioned to do. You explain, you clarify, you soften your tone, you apologize for a crime you did not commit in order to restore peace. But serenity never arrives. You can feel the chemistry change, your throat tightens, your stomach lowers. You begin rehearsing sentences at quadruple speed, hoping to discover the ideal combination that will eventually allow them to understand you. And the tragedy is that you believe you're resolving a misunderstanding when you're really negotiating your right to exist in your own world. Every explanation becomes a receipt that can be reused. Each apology establishes precedent. Every "I didn't mean it" turns into a handle later. The more fair you attempt to be, the colder they get. The more background you supply, the more pronounced they become. Your words do not resolve the problem. Rather, they feed it. They learn your buttons in real time. They hear what you fear being perceived as. They detect which labels cause you to panic. And while you're busy showing you're not greedy, lazy, or too sensitive, they're feeling more confident because they've just confirmed something important. They can influence you. That is the part no one tells you. With certain people, your decency becomes data, your empathy becomes accessible, your need to be understood becomes a lever. Imagine the same scene but with a different script. They throw the line. The small dig, the loaded question is aimed to draw you into a defense, and you do not bite. You keep your face neutral. You do not rush to correct the record. You do not volunteer explanations. You let a small quiet linger there, like a weight. Then you respond with fewer words than your neurological system wants to allow. Noted. That's your interpretation. I'm not discussing this right now. You do not say it in anger. You present it as a fact, calm, clean, final. Observe what happens. Their confidence wavers. They lean forward, looking for the previous version of you, the one who scrambles. They attempt a second thrust, a guilt line, a moral label, a louder tone. And for the first time, it does not land, because there is no emotional access. There is no debate stage. There's no courtroom, simply a person who will not perform. This is the day you cease taking it easy. Not cruel, not too loud, just unavailable in the game. Here is the concept you will need for the rest of this video. Narcissistic behavior, whether from a partner, colleague, or family member, follows predictable principles. It feeds on reactions. It feeds off your explanations. It grows when you view their framing as a verdict. Without realizing it, you've been funding the entire system with your attention, emotions, and time. In a moment, I'll show you the rule they can't break, as well as the simple approach for bringing the dynamic down without a big fight. If you approach this with moral outrage, you'll lose twice. First, you've lost the argument. Then you lose yourself. Machiavelli's value here isn't that he allows you to be harsh, it's that he compels you to perceive the landscape without romanticism. He does not inquire about how individuals should behave. He questions what people do when their position, anxiety, and want are at stake. So let us be precise. We're not diagnosing anyone. We are not giving out clinical labeling. We're labeling a pattern of conduct that appears in families, partnerships, companies, and friend groups. Someone wins by controlling the frame rather than being correct. They provoke and you react. They accuse and you explain. They change the meaning of events and you seek their approval as if a verdict will save you. That is why these individuals appear powerful, not because they are more powerful, intelligent, or alpha. They look powerful because you continue to accept their court. You continue to treat their perception as a fact that you must bargain with. And when you do so, you give up the most valuable currency in any interaction, authority over meaning. Once you notice this, you cease personalizing their performance. You stop questioning why they are the way they are, and instead ask what this conduct means for them right now. Machiavelli would describe this as a failure of perception. You are fighting at the incorrect level. You believe the war is about facts, intent, justice, and tone. They are fighting about leverage. They're testing, can I move you? Can I make you defend? Can I get you to explain? Can I make you feel bad about standing still? If the response is affirmative, they will realize they can guide you whenever they want. Here's a fact you don't want to hear. Your desire to be understood is frequently a chain around your neck. It gives off a noble vibe. It exudes maturity, but in hazardous terrain, it becomes a vulnerability that others can exploit. Because the person who needs to be understood will continue speaking, continue clarifying, continue softening, continue to provide extra chances, and every extra word creates another opening. This is why attempting to defeat deception by emotion fails. Anger provides them a stage. Tears give them a weapon. Long explanations provide material. If you approach it from the perspective of, how could you do this to me, you are already into their frame, pleading for a moral apology that may never come. Machiavelli's solution is colder and cleaner. Cease arguing with the mask and instead read incentives. Keep track of the rewards for the conduct. Keep track of how much it costs them. Keep an eye out for when they get more intense and when they retreat. Patterns reveal the truth. Words are made to hide. The good news is straightforward. If it is a system, it contains counter rules. If they win with predictable moves, you can leave the game using predictable counters. That is what we will build next. Here is the brutal rule book, and once you've seen it, you'll notice it everywhere. Not because you get paranoid, but because the pattern repeats. These games rely on the same fuel, your reaction, your explanation, and your faith that if you do it correctly, they will finally be fair. Game 1 involves bait and reaction harvesting. They purposefully provoke you and then analyze your answer like a lab result. It could be a minor insult masked as fun, a joke about your brain's appearance and ambition. It could be a sudden cool tone, a delayed response, or a public affront. The point is not the comment. The point is that you are going through a chemical change. If you get defensive, they will notice where you bruise. If you become furious, they label you as unstable. If you get harmed, they keep it as leverage. In a relationship, this appears to be a partner prodding at your vulnerability while hiding behind, "I'm kidding." However, the eyes are not lying. They want data. In a friend group, it's someone taunting you in front of everyone and then looking surprised when you don't laugh. At work, it's a manager belittling you in a meeting and then adding, "You're too emotional," as if your reaction validates their authority. They did not win the point. They won the reaction. Game 2 features courtroom traps. This is the one that leaves folks feeling empty. They make everyday life difficult. They pose questions that aren't questions. Why are you always like this? What's wrong with you? Who do you think you are? The idea is to force you into the defendant's position where you can begin providing evidence of your innocence. You list your sacrifices, you describe your intention, you change history to obtain a verdict. And if you accept the courthouse, you accept their role as the judge. In dating, the accusation comes out of nowhere. "So you don't care about me anymore. Now you're racing to prove your affection." At work, it's "Are you sure you can handle this?" said with a smile that challenges you to prove your expertise. Families use moral framing. A good child would do this. If you defend yourself here, you are not defending a specific conduct. You're defending your identity. Game 3 involves relocating the goalposts. Even if you comply, the finish line will move. You apologized, but it wasn't enough. You alter your behavior, but now the problem is your tone. You achieve results, but you should have done it sooner. This creates an earnings treadmill in which you are constantly seeking a sense of safety that never arrives. In a friendship, they ask once, expect twice, and look betrayed when you say no the third time. In a relationship, you cure what they complained about, and then the problem becomes something new because the true purpose was never improvement. The goal was control. In the workplace, you reach the standard, and the standard raises, leaving you hungry and appreciative, never content or sovereign. Consider what connects all three games. Their power is not based on intelligence, it is your predictability. Your need to mend, explain, and perform goodness on command. As long as you answer consistently, people can hit the same buttons and obtain the same result. When you become dull to manipulate, the manipulator either escalates or vanishes. Both are information. This is where the stress arises. There is one thing these games cannot withstand. It depletes the fuel they rely on. It is not aggressive. It's not a clever comeback. It's a change in how much access you provide them to your neurological system. In the following part, you'll discover how to starve the game without fighting. The first counter rule is straightforward, which is why it is difficult. Remove the incentive. Reinforcement is what keeps these games going. They are compensated whenever they irritate you, and you answer quickly, emotionally, or with a lengthy explanation. They receive attention, knowledge, and proof that your neurological system is ready to be controlled. So you adjust the economics. You become calm, concise, and dull, not frigid or cruel, just unprofitable. Imagine this loaded message, so you're just going to ignore me now. The older you feels the increase and responds promptly. You type to paragraph. You describe your day, your intentions, your emotions, and your kindness. You attempt to be fair. The new you does the opposite. You pause. You let the heat settle. Then you respond with as few words as your impulse allows. I'll get back to you. Or, if it's merely bait, simply say, noted. There's no essay, no apology tour. There is no emotional gift. This isn't a trick. This is behavioral physics. Reward a behavior and it will repeat. Starve it and it will either change or escalate. People who thrive on drama despise monotony more than they do restrictions, since boredom provides them with nothing to grip. So your tone matters. Calm voice. The face is neutral. No sarcasm, no edge that sparks a new fight. Your goal is to deplete the dopamine high they get from watching you spin. Silence is part of it, not the quiet treatment. Silence represents composure. A 2-second delay following a jab, a delayed response following a provocation, eye contact without a performance. The goal is to stop feeding the loop. When you cease behaving on a set schedule, you become unpredictable, and predictability is what makes you comfortable. The second counter rule is more lethal. Never accept the judge's role. The instant you argue against a label, you've entered the courtroom. You're selfish, you're cold, you're irresponsible. These are not facts. They are verdicts that require you to contend for your identification. When you defend, you validate the assumption that you owe a defense. You do not. So you respond exclusively with facts, not labels. You do not debate character. You do not endeavor to win a verdict. You reject the arena. You are old. I'm not selfish. I do everything for you. I've been there every time. The new you says, that's your interpretation. Old you asks, how can you call me cold? You know what I've gone through. The new you replies, I'm not available for this tone. Old you says, you're twisting my words. The new you says, I'm not debating that. Pay attention to what's going on. You are not counterattacking. You are not begging to be understood. You're creating a barrier around meaning. If there is a genuine problem to tackle, you can address it directly. What exactly do you want to change? What's the specific request? What's the next step? If they won't get down to specifics, it means the goal was never resolved. It was about control. Instead of initiating arguments, use brief lines to finish them. We see this differently. I'm not discussing labels. I am willing to talk when it's respectful. I heard you. Say it once and then quit. The power comes at the end of the statement, not the extra paragraph. In a relationship, this appears to be refusing the endless loop. They state, if you cared, you would do this. Old you scrambles to demonstrate affection. The new you states, I'm choosing differently, and tolerates the discomfort. At work, it's the competency test. Are you sure you can handle this? Old you exaggerates your qualifications. The new you says, yes, or I'll confirm by Friday. With pals, it's a light-hearted taunt meant to bring you down in front of others. Old you laughs too hard and feels little afterwards. New you becomes quiet, maintains eye contact and adds, don't do that. before returning to the discussion without explaining why. Expect escalation. When you stop paying, the bill collector becomes louder. They may accuse you of changing. They may push harder. That doesn't mean you're failing. It indicates that the old system is starving. Maintain your frame, calm, brief, and dull. If they keep pushing, repeat it once and then disengage. No appeals, no second trial. Then you'll learn what to do when you're punished for it. The third counter rule is controlled withdrawal, which breaks the cycle without causing a war. Not a conflict. This is not a moral lecture. This is not a dramatic breakup monologue. You cannot reason your way out of a power game. You modify the access. When someone is rewarded for pushing you, they will continue to press. The only language that the system understands is consequence. Controlled withdrawal entails reducing availability, intimacy, and explanation gradually and consistently until the dynamic resets or collapses. Begin small and make it dull. Replied later rather than immediately. Reject requests that exhaust you. Stop providing further emotional labor. Stop volunteering your schedule, motivations, and plans. If they want immediate responses, you slow down. If they expect constant proximity, you become more selective. Not to punish them, but to safeguard your nervous system and disrupt the training cycle. The old you negotiates, the new you follows policy. I'm not available. That doesn't work for me. I'll let you know. Then you make a decision later. The idea is to not explain the policy as if you are requesting permission to have it. You simply live it. This is where most individuals relapse. When you withdraw, the other person feels a lack of control and attempts to pull you back. The first step is to bargain. They suddenly seem delicious, sensible, and nostalgic. Can we talk? I miss you. Let's reset. Then follows guilt. After everything I've done for you, you're really going to do this to me. Then comes the wrath and labeling. You've changed. You're cold. You're selfish. None of this proves you are wrong. It's proof that the lever worked. Expect an extinction burst, which is the final, noisy surge of activity when the old approach stops paying. If you interpret that spike as a sign that you should return to normal, you educate them that the escalation was successful. If you remain cool and persistent, the conduct will either de-escalate or expose itself to be purely controlling. When the stakes are serious, add the fourth counter rule, paper traces. Clarity is essential when dealing with money, work performance, shared duties, custody, housing, or collaborative projects. You do not do this to trap anyone. You do it because confusion is an opportunity for manipulation. Maintain a neutral tone and keep it brief. Confirming what we agreed, you'll handle X by Thursday, I'll handle Y by Friday. To clarify, the deliverable is A, not B. Per our conversation, I'm available for meetings on Tuesday, not weekends. You are not accusing, you're anchoring reality. If their behavior becomes threatening, do not tackle it alone. Include a manager, HR representative, mediator, or trusted third party. Prioritize safety, witnesses, and written communication. Strategy is pointless if you are vulnerable to counterattack in the moment. If they try to shift the conversation to tone and feelings, you return to the facts. I'm delighted to discuss the task. I am not debating character. If they pretend you never said anything, you will not spiral. You point at the message. If they change history, you don't fight over memory. You create a record that makes revisions expensive. This also safeguards you socially. When someone cannot control you privately, they may attempt to dominate the story publicly. Paper trails prevent you from getting drawn into an endless defensive. You do not need to battle for your innocence. You require consistent behavior and clean receipts. A final warning, managed withdrawal, is not about winning someone over. It's about seeing if the partnership can thrive without your cooperation. If they can only love you when you are easy, agreeable, and reactive, then they liked access rather than you. Your role is to make that distinction clear. In the following section, we will address smear attempts and the quiet reputation defense without getting bogged down in the mud. When someone can't manage you privately, the next step is usually public, not always loud or evident. Sometimes it's a delicate story, delivered with a smile. A concerned comment, a joke portraying you as unstable, a quiet hint that you are difficult, selfish, disloyal, or dangerous. Because if pressure isn't working, they'll try reputation. Most people panic and commit suicide at this point. They begin campaigning, they send extensive messages, they vent in public. They go over every detail with anyone who would listen, thinking that the truth may save them. But the more you explain your innocence, the more you appear guilty. Not because you are, but because you have accepted the same courtroom, albeit with a larger audience. The counter rule is a subtle reputation defense. You don't battle for the tail emotionally. You support your position with consistency and facts. You let your actions become your statements. First, put a stop to the chatter battle. Do not adopt their tactics. The goal isn't to win the group. The goal is to remain clean. People value stability more than speeches. If you want allies, you gain them through dependability, not by bringing them into your battle. Second, keep your language concise and outcome-focused. When someone tries to draw you into a story, you do not rant. You do not provide character arguments. You provide a border and a direction. Here's the statement that rescues you. I'm not talking about personal conflict. I'm focusing on the end result. It teaches them three things at once. You are not reactive. You are not ashamed. And you're not up for turmoil. If the circumstance calls for a factual correction, do surgery. One sentence, no emotion. There are no extra details. That is not accurate. This is what I can affirm. Then stop talking. The more you explain, the more opportunities for distortion. Clarity is powerful, but over-explaining is a flaw. Third, defend your circle and the environment. If this is happening at work, switch conversations to writing whenever possible. Keep meeting notes, confirm decisions. If it's social, limit access to people who use information as cash. You do not need to expose them. You should cease feeding them. Fourth, allow time to do some of the tasks. Smear attempts frequently rely on hurry, on you reacting quickly, so you appear unstable. When you remain cool while they escalate, the contrast becomes clear. Most individuals don't love drama indefinitely. They enjoy it until it becomes a source of discomfort. Your steadiness makes their turmoil costly. Finally, remember the true frame. You are not attempting to please everyone. You are creating a life that cannot be influenced by rumors. Sovereignty isn't loud. It is peaceful, neat, and monotonous. In the final step, we will complete the system with an upgrade. How to maintain power without becoming a cold machine, as well as how to implement a brief protocol that will make these changes a reality in 7 days. Here's the upgrade, which is clean power rather than control. Run it for 7 days and see who loses access to your nervous system. Day 1, speak 20% less. Allow quiet to do the function of your previous explanations. Day 2, no explanations. One sentence, then stop. Day 3, delay reactions on purpose. Break the pattern that indicates people can summon you. Day 4, enforce one limit without dispute. That doesn't work for me. There is nothing following it. Day 5, give up one supply habit, such as fighting, proving, rescuing, or calming their emotions. Day 6, write down a major point, confirming we agreed on X by Y. Day 7, one controlled withdrawal. Limit access where you feel depleted. Short responses, fewer visits, and decreased closeness. You aren't doing this to dominate. You are doing it to become immobile. The next video will explain why they punish boundaries and how to keep the line without being frigid. If someone escalates, do not respond with an argument. Repeat the policy once and then exit. Consistency is the shield. Warmth is permitted, but it must be stable and not purchased by chaos.